Hello. So today is, let's see, it's the last day of 5783, which is on the Hebrew calendar. And then tomorrow, which is Saturday, September 16th, is the first day of the Hebrew New Year, which is 5784. And so it's definitely a crossover time. And I don't know why I have the overwhelming urge. I have a lot of favorite spots in the Bible for sure, but Joshua 1 is one of my favorites because it's like, first of all, the cool guys in the story, in my opinion, is Joshua and Caleb are the cool guys in the story. And so, but it's really encouraging, like how God says, like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Take courage. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it, And so I feel like it's like for like this time period, because I feel like we're at the threshold of walking into our promised land, but there's still going to be giants in the land that we're going to have to defeat, but God will give us strategy for each giant we need to take down in the promised land. So it's like, yeah, so we're like at the threshold and we need to walk, like step forward and be like, okay, Lord, what are we doing? Like, how do we defeat these giants, and like he will give us strategy blueprints for each day and like each battle. But it's like we have to be willing to walk into the promised land like Joshua and Caleb were. And so I don't know, I just love Joshua 1 so much. So I'm going to be reading from the World Messianic Bible. So now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' servant, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now, therefore, arise and go across this Jordan, and you and these people to the land which I am giving to them, even to the children of Israel. I have given you every place that the sole of your foot will tread on, as I told Moses, from the wilderness and this Lebanon, even to the great river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and to the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your border. No man will be able to stand before you all the days of your life. Come on, that's good. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not fail you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only, here it comes again, only be strong and very courageous. Be careful to observe, to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may have good success wherever you go. This scroll of the Torah shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, that you may observe to do accordingly to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall have good success. Haven't I commanded you? Here it comes again. Be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid. Don't be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the middle of the camp and command the people, saying, Prepare food, for within 3 days you are to pass over this Jordan to go in to possess the land which the Lord God gives you to possess. Joshua spoke to the Reubenites and to the Gadites and to half the tribe of Manasseh, saying, Remember the word which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, The Lord your God gives you rest, and will give you this land. Your wives, your little ones, and your livestock shall live in the land which Moses gave you beyond the Jordan, but you shall pass over before your brothers armed, all the mighty men of valor, and shall help them until the Lord has given your brothers rest, as he has given you. And they have also possessed the land which the Lord your God gives them. Then you shall return to the land of your possessions and possess it. which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise. They answered Joshua, saying, all that you have commanded us, we will do. Wherever you send us, we will go. Just as we listened to Moses in all things, so we will listen to you. Only may the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Whoever rebels against your commandment and doesn't listen to your words in all that you command him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and courageous. So now chapter 2. Joshua the son of Nun secretly sent 2 men out of Shittim as spies. Go view the land, including Jericho. They went and came into the house of a prostitute whose name was Rahab, and they slept there. The king of Jericho was told, behold, the men of the children of Israel came here tonight to spy out the land. Jericho's king sent to Rahab, saying, bring out the men who have come to you, who have entered into your house, for they have come to spy out the land. The woman took the 2 men and hid them. Then she said, yes, the men came to me, but I didn't know where they came from. And about the time the shutting of the gate, when it was dark, the men went out. Where the men went, I don't know. Pursue them quickly, you may catch up with them. But she had brought them up to the roof and hid them under the stalks of flax which she had laid in order on the roof. The men pursued them along the way to the fords of the Jordan River. As soon as those who pursued them had gone out, they shut the gate before they had laid down. She came up to them on the roof, and she said to the men, I know the Lord has given you the land, and that the fear of you has fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt away before you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the sea of Suph before you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, to Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. As soon as we had heard it, our hearts melted, and there wasn't any more spirit in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is the God of heaven above and of earth beneath. Now therefore, please swear to me by the Lord, since I have dealt kindly with you, that you also will deal kindly with my father's house and give me a true sign, and that you will save alive my father, my mother, my brothers, my sister, and all that I have, and will deliver our lives from death. The men said to her, our life for yours. If you don't talk about this business of ours, it shall be, when the Lord gives us this land, that we will deal kindly and truly with you. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was on the side of the wall, and she lived on the wall. She said to them, go to the mountain, lest the pursuers find you. Hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers have returned. Afterward you may go your way. The men said to her, we will be guiltless of this oath which you made us swear. Behold, when we come to the land, tie this line of scarlet thread in the window which you used to let us down. Gather to yourself into the house your father, your mother, your brothers, and all your father's household. It shall be that whoever goes out of the doors of your house into the street, his blood shall be on his head, for we will be guiltless. Whoever is with you in the house, his blood shall be on our head, for if any hand is on him. Whoever is with you in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand is on him. But if you talk about this business of ours, then we shall be guiltless of your oath which you made us to swear. She said, let it be as you have said. She sent them away, and they departed. Then she tied the scarlet line to the window. They went and came to the mountain and stayed there 3 days, until the pursuers had returned. The pursuers sought them all along the way, but didn't find them. Then the 2 men returned, descended from the mountain, crossed the river, and came to Joshua the son of Nun. They told him all that had happened to them. They said to Joshua, "Truly the Lord has delivered all the land into our hands. Moreover, all the inhabitants of the land melt away before us." They're all scared of us. Okay, come on. So chapter 3 of Joshua. Joshua got up early in the morning, and they moved from Shittim and came to the Jordan, and he and all the children of Israel. They camped there before they crossed over. After 3 days, the officers went through the middle of the camp, and they commanded all the people, saying, "When you see the ark of the Lord your God's covenant and the Levitical priests bearing it, then leave your place and follow it. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Don't come closer to it, that you might." Don't come closer to it. Where did I go? Did I just move it? So don't come close to the ark, that you may know the way by which you must go, for you have not passed this way before. Joshua said to the people, "Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you." So get ready. Get ready, people. Get ready. Joshua spoke to the priests, saying, "Take up the ark of the covenant and cross over before the people." They took up the ark of the covenant and went before the people. The Lord said to Joshua, "Today I will begin to magnify you in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so I will be with you." Whew. So it's like a changing of the guard. "You shall command the priests who bear the ark of the covenant, saying, when you come to the brink of the waters of the Jordan, you shall stand still in the Jordan." Joshua said to the children of Israel, "Come here, hear the words of the Lord your God." Joshua said, "By this you shall know that the living God is among you, that he will without fail drive the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Hivite, the Perizzite, the Girgashite, the Amorite, and the Jebusite out from before you. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passes over before you into the Jordan. Now therefore take 12 men out of the tribe." Okay, this is one of my favorite parts. "Now therefore take 12, okay, a dozen. Now therefore take 12 men out of the tribe of Israel, for every tribe a man. It shall be that when the soles of the feet of the priests who bear the ark of the Lord of all the earth, rest in the waters of the Jordan, that the waters of the Jordan will be cut off. The waters that come down from above shall stand in one heap." So basically, like the water is going to stop so they can cross over, right? Okay. "When the people moved from their tents to pass over the Jordan, the priests who bore the ark of the covenant being before the people, when those who bore the ark had come to the Jordan, and the feet of the priests who bore the ark had dipped in the edge of the water, for the Jordan overflows all its banks at the time of harvest, the waters which came down from above stood and rose in one heap a great way off at Adam, the city that is beside Zarethan, and those that went down toward the sea of Arabah, even the salt sea, were wholly cut off. Then the people passed over near Jericho. The priests who bore the ark of the Lord's covenant stood firm on the dry ground in the middle of the Jordan, and all Israel crossed over on dry ground until all the nation had passed completely over the Jordan. So cool. All right, talk about crossing over. Like God literally stops a river for his people to cross over on dry ground, okay? And it's not the first time he's done that, okay? It's just what he does. It's so cool. All right, so Joshua number 4. When all the nation had completely crossed over the Jordan, The Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, "Take 12 men out of the people, a man out of every tribe, and command them, saying, Take from out of the middle of the Jordan, out of the place where the priest's feet stood firm, 12 stones. Carry them over with you and lay them down in the place where you'll camp tonight." Then Joshua called the 12 men who he had prepared of the children of Israel, one man out of every tribe. Joshua said to them, "Cross before the ark of the Lord your God in the middle of the Jordan, and each of you pick up a stone and put it on your shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, that this may be a sign among you, that when your children," okay, got to teach the children, right? So this is a sign among you, that when your children ask in the future, saying, "What do you mean by these stones?" then you shall tell them, "Because the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the Lord covenant. When it crossed over the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. These stones shall be a memorial to the children of Israel forever." So they'll always remember what God has done for them, which is so cool. I love that. I love to always remember what God has done for us, like in our lives, you know, so good. So good. So good. Okay, so the children of Israel did as Joshua commanded and took up 12 stones out of the middle of the Jordan as the Lord spoke to Joshua. According to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, they carried them over with them to the place where they camped and laid them down there. Joshua set up 12 stones in the middle of the Jordan in a place where the feet of the priests who bore the Ark of the Covenant stood, and they are there to this day. For the priests who bore the ark stood in the middle of the Jordan until everything was finished that the Lord had commanded. Joshua to speak to, okay, so everything was finished that the Lord commanded. Joshua speak to the people according to all that Moses commanded Joshua, and the people hurried and passed over. When all the people had completely crossed over, the Lord's ark crossed over with the priests in the presence of the people. The children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh crossed over armed before the children of Israel, as Moses spoke to them. About 40,000 men, ready and armed for war, passed over before the Lord to battle in the plains of Jericho. On that day, the Lord magnified Joshua in the sight of all Israel, and they feared him, as they feared Moses all the days of his life. The Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, "Command the priests who bear the ark of the covenant that they come up out of the Jordan." Joshua therefore commanded the priests, "Come up out of the Jordan." When the priests bore the ark of the Lord's covenant, when the priests who bore the ark of the Lord's covenant had come up out of the middle of the Jordan, and the soles of the priests' feet had been lifted up to the dry ground, the waters of the Jordan returned to their place and went over all its banks as before. The people came up out of the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month and encamped in Gilgal, on the west border of Jericho. Joshua set up those 12 stones which they took out of the Jordan and Gilgal, and he spoke to the children of Israel, saying, "When your children ask their fathers in the time to come, saying, 'What do these stones mean?' then you shall let your children know, saying, 'Israel came over this Jordan on dry land, for the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan from before you until you had crossed over, as the Lord your God did to the Sea of Suf,'" or the Red Sea, "which he dried up from before us until we had crossed over, that all the peoples of the earth may know that the Lord's hand is mighty, and that you may fear the Lord your God forever." Okay, fearing God is a healthy fear. It's not, but he's still good, you know what I mean? Like, All right, so Joshua 5. When all the kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites who were by the sea, heard how the Lord had dried up the waters of the Jordan from before the children of Israel until they had crossed over, their heart melted, and there was no more spirit in them because of the children of Israel. At the time the Lord said to Joshua, make flint knives and circumcise again the sons of Israel the second time. All right, that doesn't sound glamorous at all. Joshua made himself flint knives and circumcised the sons of Israel at the heel of foreskin. At the heel of the foreskins. This is the reason Joshua circumcised them. All the people who came out of Egypt were males. Even all the men of war died in the wilderness along the way after they came out of Egypt. For all the people who came out were circumcised, but all the people who were born in the wilderness along the way as they came out of Egypt had not been circumcised. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness until all the nation, even the men of war who came out of Egypt, were consumed because they didn't listen to the Lord's voice. Okay. Woo. The Lord swore to them that he wouldn't let them see the land, which the Lord swore to their fathers that he would give to us, a land flowing with milk and honey. Their children, whom he raised up in their place, were circumcised by Joshua, for they were uncircumcised because they had not circumcised them on the way. When they were done circumcising the whole nation, they stayed in their places in the camp until they were healed. Whew. The Lord said to Joshua, today I have rolled away the reproach of Egypt from you. Therefore the name of that place was called Gilgal to this day. The children of Israel encamped in Gilgal. They kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at evening in the plains of Jericho. They ate unleavened cakes and parched grain of the produce of the land on the next day after the Passover in the same day. The manna ceased on the next day after they had eaten the produce of the land. The children of Israel didn't have manna anymore, but they ate of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. When Joshua was by Jericho, he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a man stood in front of him with his sword drawn in his hand. Joshua went to him and said to him, are you for us or for our enemies? I think another translation says, are you for us or against us? Like, because we're not playing around here, okay? He said, no, but I have come now as a commander of the Lord's army. Joshua fell on his face to the earth and worshipped and asked, what does my Lord say to his servant? The prince of the Lord's army said to Joshua, take off your sandals, for the place on which you stand is holy. Joshua did so. So Joshua 6. Now Jericho was tightly shut up because of the children of Israel. No one went out and no one came in. The Lord said to Joshua, behold, I have given Jericho into your hand and its king and the mighty men of valor. All your men of war shall march around the city, going around the city once. You shall do this for 6 days. 7 priests shall bear shofars, the little trumpets, of ram's horn before the ark. On the 7th day you shall march around the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow the shofars, and it shall be that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the shofar, all the people shall shout with a great shout. Then the city wall will fall down flat, and the people shall go up, every man straight in front of him. I love that. I love it so much. I love that the music goes before, like, the warriors. I love it so much. And the people of Jericho were already scared. Like, they're already, like, all locked up in their, like, fortified city. Like, nobody's leaving. There's, like, big, bad, scary guys out there. Like, nobody, So they're already scared, and then the music, then they're just like doing the music is so cool. They said to the people, "Advance, march around the city, let the armed men pass on before the Lord's ark." It was so that when Joshua had spoken to the people, the 7 priests bearing the 7 shofars of ram's horn before the Lord advanced and blew the shofars. And the ark of the Lord's covenant followed them. The armed men went before the priests who blew the shofars, and the ark went after them. The shofars sounded as they went. Joshua commanded the people, saying, "You shall not shout, nor let your voice be heard, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth until the day I tell you to shout." Okay, I love it because it's just like, it's like clear blueprints. And I love when God gives his people like clear blueprints. Like, do this, but not that, I love it. "Then you shall shout." So he caused the Lord's ark to go around the city, circling it once. Then they came into the camp and stayed in the camp. Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the Lord's ark. The 7 priests bearing the 7 shofars of ram's horns in front of the Lord's ark went on continually and blew the shofars. The armed men went in front of them. The rear guard came after the Lord's ark. The shofars sounded as they went. The second day they marched around the city once and returned to camp. They did this for 6 days. On the 7th day, they rose early at the dawning of the day and marched around the city in the same way 7 times. And on this day, only they marched around the city 7 times. And at the 7th time, when the priests blew the shofars, Joshua said to the people, "Shout, for the Lord has given you this city. The city shall be devoted, even it and all that is in it, to the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute shall live, she and all who are in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. But as for you, only keep yourselves from what is devoted to destruction, lest when you have devoted it, you take of the devoted things, so you would make the camp of Israel accursed and trouble it. But all the silver, gold, and vessels of bronze and iron are holy to the Lord. They shall come into the Lord's treasury." So the people shouted, and the priests blew the shofars, and the people heard the sound of the shofar, and the people shouted with a great shout, and the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight in front of him, and they took the city. They utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, both young and old, and ox, sheep, and donkey, by the edge of the sword. Joshua said to the 2 men who had spied out the land, "Go into the prostitute's house and bring the woman and all that she has out from there as you swore to her." The young men who were spies went in and brought out Rahab with her father, her mother, her brothers, and all that she had. They also brought out all of her relatives, and they set them outside the camp of Israel. They burned the city with fire and all that was in it. Only they put the silver, the gold, and the vessels of bronze and iron into the treasury of the Lord's house. But Rahab the prostitute and her father's household and all that she had, Joshua saved alive. She lives in the middle of Israel to this day because she hid the messengers whom Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. Joshua commanded them with an oath at this time, saying, "Cursed is the man before the Lord who rises up and rebuilds this city Jericho. With the loss of his firstborn he shall lay its foundation, and with the loss of his youngest son he shall set up its gates." So the Lord was with Joshua, and all his fame was in the land. So there's so much in there, but the other cool thing about Rahab, the prostitute, is that Jesus descended from her bloodline, which is really cool, interesting. The other thing is, like, sometimes, like, as Christians, like, we can curse the land, like Joshua did. He basically, like, cursed, like, whoever's gonna rebuild this, they're cursed, and you know what I mean. And so, like that's how powerful our mouths are. Like, we have to be careful what we speak over the land and what we speak over people, even ourselves, you know, our children, just because, God's people, like, it's almost like our mouths are more powerful than somebody else's. And so it's like, when you curse as a Christian, is like, oh my gosh, like, that does, like, a lot of damage. And so it's really, like, important to not like, to be careful with our words, you know. And sometimes the way people pray, maybe without noticing it, or noticing it, like, you could, like, pray with, like, witchcraft, sort of, like, without noticing it, like just say something really terrible, and you're like, wait a second, that's not right, you know. And so it's really important to be careful with your words, because you don't want to cause harm. Like, knowing that our words are powerful is like, okay, well, I don't want to use them to cause harm, you know, and curse land, or, like, curse people or whatever. But anyways, okay, Joshua 7. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the devoted things. So they didn't follow all the directions. For Acah, so like, in Jericho they worshiped, you know, other gods, which I think one of them was Molech, because they did sacrifice their children. And so I think that so that's what's happening here. They were supposed to burn all that stuff, you know. So committed a trespass of devoted things. For Acah, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabadi, the son of Zerah, the tribe of Judah, took some of the devoted things. Therefore the Lord's anger burnt against the children of Israel. It's crazy, because it only takes one. It's like, one person's going to ruin it for the whole camp. Like, seriously? Come on. So Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which beside Beth Aven on the east side of Bethel, and spoke to them, saying, go up and spy out the land. The men went up and spied out Ai, and they returned to Joshua and said to him, don't let all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and strike Ai. Don't make all the people toil there, for there are only a few of them. So about 3,000 men of the people went up there, and they fled. So about 3,000 men of the people went up there, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai struck 36 men of them. They chased them from before the gate to Shebarim, and struck them at the descent. The hearts of the people melted, and they became like water. Joshua tore his clothes and fell to the earth on his face before the Lord's ark until the evening. And he and the elders of Israel, and they put on dust on their heads. Joshua said, alas, Lord God, why have you brought this people over the Jordan at all, to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites, to cause us to perish? I wish that we had been content and lived beyond the Jordan. O Lord, what shall I say after Israel has turned their backs before their enemies? For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land will hear of it, and will surround us and cut off our name from the earth. What will you do for your great name? So basically, they've had, like, victory, so it's like, okay, what is going on? Why did we not have the victory this time? Like, what is going on? This is not good. The Lord said to Joshua, get up. Why have you fallen on your face like that? Israel has sinned. Yes, they have even transgressed my covenant, which I commanded them. Yes, they have taken some of the devoted things and have also stolen and also deceived. They have put it among their own stuff. Therefore, the children of Israel can't stand before their enemies. They turn their backs before their enemies because they have become devoted for destruction. I will not be with you anymore unless you destroy the devoted things from among you. So I think they're like idols or whatever. Get up, sanctify the people, and say, sanctify yourselves for tomorrow. For the Lord, the God of Israel, says, there is a devoted thing among you, Israel. You cannot stand before your enemies until you take the devoted thing from among you. In the morning, therefore, you shall be brought near by your tribes. It shall be that the tribe which the Lord selects shall come near by families. The family which the Lord selects shall come near by households. The household which the Lord selects shall come near man by man. It shall be that he who has taken the devoted thing shall be burned with fire, he and all that he has, because he has transgressed the Lord's covenant and because he has done a disgraceful thing in Israel. So Joshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel near their tribes. The tribe of Judah was selected. He was brought near the family. He brought near the family of Judah, and he selected the family of Zerahites. He brought near the family of Zerahites, man by man, and Zabdi was selected. He was brought near his household, man by man, and Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabadi, son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was selected. Joshua said to Achan, my son, please give glory to the Lord, the God of Israel, and make confession to him. Tell me now, what have you done? Don't hide it from me. Exclamation mark. Okay. Achan answered Joshua and said, I have truly sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel, and this is what I have done. When I saw among the plunder a beautiful Babylonian robe, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold weighing 50 shekels, then I coveted them and took them. Behold, they are hidden in the ground in the middle of my tent, with the silver under it. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran to the tent. Behold, it was hidden in his tent, with the silver under it. They took them from the middle of the tent and brought them to Joshua and to all the children of Israel. So they laid them down before the Lord. Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, the silver, the robe, the wedge of gold, his sons and his daughters, his cattle, his donkeys, his sheep, his tent, and all that he had, and they brought them up to the valley of Achor. Joshua said, why have you troubled us? The Lord will trouble you today. All Israel stoned him with stones, and they burned them with fire and stoned them with stones. They raised over him a great heap of stones that remains to this day. The Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger. Therefore, the name of that place is called the Valley of Achor to this day. I don't know why I'm still reading it and why I felt so compelled to read it today. So this is Joshua 8. The Lord said to Joshua, okay, this always repeats throughout this book. I love it so much. Don't be afraid and don't be dismayed. Take all the warriors with you and arise and go up to Ai. Behold, I have given into your hand the king of Ai and his people, his city and his land. You shall do to Ai and her king as you did to Jericho and her king, except you shall take its goods and its livestock for yourselves. Set an ambush for the city behind it. So Joshua rose with all the warriors to go up to Ai. Joshua chose 30,000 men, the mighty men of valor, and sent them out by night. He commanded them, saying, Behold, you shall lie in ambush against the city, behind the city. Don't go very far from the city, but all of you be ready. And I and all the people who are with me will approach the city. Whew. I love how God gives blueprints for each battle. It's so cool. Love it. It shall happen when they come out against us as at the first that we will flee before them. They will come out after us until we have drawn them away from the city. For they will say, they flee before us like the first time. So we will flee before them, and you shall raise up the ambush and take possession of the city. For the Lord your God will deliver it into your hand. It shall be that when you have seized the city, that you shall set the city on fire. You shall do this according to the Lord's word. Behold, I have commanded you. Joshua sent them out, and they went to set up the ambush and stayed between Bethel and Ai on the west side of Ai. But Joshua stayed among the people that night. Joshua rose up early in the morning, mustered the people, and went up, he and the elders of Israel, before the people of Ai. And all the people, even the men of war who were with him, went up and came near and came before the city and encamped on the north side of Ai. Now there was a valley between him and Ai, and he took about 5,000 men and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai on the west side of the city. So they set the people and even all the army who was on the north of the city and their ambush on the west side of the city. And Joshua went that night into the middle of the valley. When the king of Ai saw it, they hurried and rose up early, and the men of the city went out against Israel to battle, he and all his people, at the time appointed before Arabah. But he didn't know that there was an ambush against him behind the city. Joshua and all Israel made as if they were beaten before them, and they fled by way of the wilderness. All the people who were in the city were called together to pursue after them. They pursued Joshua and were drawn away from the city. There was not a man left in Ai or Bethel who didn't go out after Israel. They left the city open and pursued Israel. The Lord said to Joshua, stretch out the javelin that is in your hand towards Ai, for I will give it into your hand. Joshua stretched out the javelin that was in his hand toward the city. The ambush arose quickly out of their place. They ran as soon as they had stretched out his hand, soon as he had stretched out his hand, and entered into the city and took it. They hurried and set the city on fire. When the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw, and behold, the smoke of the city ascended up to heaven, and they had no power to flee this way or that way. I mean, they were surrounded and obviously watching their home being burned up. The people who fled to the wilderness turned back on the pursuers. When Joshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city and that the smoke of the city ascended, then they turned back and killed the men of Ai. The others came out of the city against them, so they were in the middle of Israel, some on this side and some on that side. They struck them, so that they let none of them remain or escape. They captured the king of Ai alive and brought him to Joshua. When Israel had finished killing all the inhabitants of Ai in the field and in the wilderness in which they pursued them, they had all fallen by the edge of the sword until they were consumed. All Israel returned to Ai and struck it with the edge of the sword. All that fell that day, both men and women, were 12,000, even all the people of Ai, for Joshua didn't draw back his hand with which he stretched out the javelin until he had utterly destroyed all the inhabitants of Ai. Wow. Israel took for themselves only livestock and the goods of that city according to the Lord's word, which he commanded Joshua. So this time everybody obeyed. So that's a good day. All right. So Joshua burned Ai and made it a heap forever, even a desolation to this day. He hanged the king of Ai on the tree until the evening. At sundown, Joshua commanded, and they took his body down from the tree and threw it at the entrance of the gate of the city, and raised a heap of stones on it that remains to this day. Then Joshua built an altar to the Lord, the God of Israel, on the Mount of Ebal, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the scroll of the Torah of Moses, an altar of uncut stones on which no one had lifted up any iron. They offered burnt offerings on it to the Lord and sacrificed peace offerings. He wrote there on the stones a copy of Moses' law, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel. All Israel, with their elders, officers, and judges, stood on both sides of the ark before the Levitical priests who carried the ark of the Lord's covenant, the foreigner as well as the native, half of them in front of the Mount Gerizim, and half of them in front of Mount Ebal, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded at first, that they should bless the people of Israel. Afterward, he read all the words of the law, the blessing and the curse, according to all that is written in the scroll of the Torah. There was not a word of all that Moses commanded which Joshua did not read before all the assembly of Israel, with the women, the little ones, and the foreigners who were among them. So, Joshua chapter 9. When all the kings who were beyond the Jordan in the hill country and in the lowland and on the shore of the great sea in front of Lebanon, the Hittite and the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Perizzite and the Hivite and the Jebusite heard of it, they gathered themselves together to fight with Joshua and with Israel with one accord. But when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they also resorted to a ruse and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks on their donkeys, and old tore up and bound up wineskins, and old and patched up sandals on their feet, and wore old garments, and all the bread of their food supply was dry and moldy. They went to Joshua, so they're like playing a game, you know what I mean? They're putting on an act. So they went to Joshua at the camp of Gilgal and said to him and to the men of Israel, "We have come from a faraway country. Now therefore make a covenant with us." The men of Israel said to the Hivites, "What if you live among us? How could we make a covenant with you?" And they said to Joshua, "We are your servants." And Joshua said to them, "Who are you? Where do you come from?" And they said, "Your servants have come from a very far country because of the name of the Lord your God. We have heard of his fame and all that he did in Egypt and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, to Sidon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, who was at Ashtaroth. Our elders and all the inhabitants of our country spoke to us, saying, 'Take supplies in your hand for the journey and go and meet them. Tell them we are your servants. Now make a covenant with us. This is our bread we took hot from our supplies out of our houses on the day we went out to go to you. But now behold, it's dry and has become moldy. These wineskins which we filled were new, and behold, they are torn. These are our garments, and our sandals have become old from the very long journey.' The men sampled their provisions and didn't ask. Okay, this is important. The men sampled their provisions and didn't ask counsel of the Lord's mouth. Joshua made peace with them and made a covenant with them to let them live. The princes of the congregation swore to them at the end of the 3 days after they had made covenant with them. They heard that they were neighbors and that they lived among them. The children of Israel traveled and came to their cities on the 3rd day. Now their cities were Gibeon, Chephra, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. Okay. The children of Israel didn't strike them because the princes of the congregation had swore to them by the Lord, the God of Israel, and all the congregation murmured against the princes. But all the princes said to all the congregation, we have swore to them by the Lord, the God of Israel. Now therefore we may not touch them. We will do this to them. Let them live, lest wrath be on us. Because of the oath which we swore to them, the princes said to them, let them live. So they became woodcutters and drawers of water for all the congregation as the princes had spoken to them. Joshua called for them and he spoke to them. Why have you deceived us, saying, we are very far from you, when you live among us? Now therefore you are cursed, and some of you will never fail to be slaves, both woodcutters and drawers of water for the house of my God. They answered Joshua and said, because your servants were certainly told how the Lord your God commanded his servant Moses to give you all the land, and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from before you. Therefore we were very afraid for our lives because of you, and have done this thing. Now behold, we are in your hand. Do to us as it seems good and right to you. He did so to them, and delivered them out of the hand of the children of Israel, so that they didn't kill them. That day Joshua made them woodcutters and drawers of water for the congregation and for the Lord's altar to this day, in the place which he should choose. Okay. And there's more to the book of Joshua. Let's see. There's like 24 chapters. Okay. But I love the book of Joshua. I like it all. And I don't know why I read such long. But I love it because it's like, okay, one person screws it up for the whole camp. It's like, what? So it's like you have to remove like the defilement from the inside of the camp to be able to have victory. And then it's like with the guys who tried to trick them, like, oh, we're like from far away place, and they're really like not, It's like that's where like discernment comes in. Like with every decision, like they should have like said like, hold on a second, this sounds kind of fishy, but we'll get back to you, and like they should have like watched these guys, and like went away and like prayed about them and like, all right, like they should have sought the Lord, like, are they telling the truth, because they sound kind of fishy, like it's a little too strange of a story, but I just love that because it's like, and I also think like it's like it sounds pretty harsh, but like God is holy, and so for us to have a relationship with him, like we have to consecrate ourselves and allow him to sanctify us, through the sanctification process. And I heard, I didn't make it up, but I heard someone say that like wholeness, like becoming whole inside, like inner healing, wholeness, like how can we be holy if we're not whole, inside of us? And so I kind of think of like the inner healing journey, like becoming whole inside, is like similar to that process of sanctification. Because like how can I act right if I'm not totally healed inside my soul, if my mind's not renewed? Like how can I want to serve God, I want to act right, but like I'm in process, and God is holy, and he's like, so when I consecrate myself and I say, okay, Lord, I'm fully surrendered to you, like I could do that myself, but God, I need you to sanctify me and like take me through that process. It's probably not going to happen like this fast, but it's like, it's almost like a learning thing, but it's like also like a purification process, like removing all defilement from me, and but it's cool because God is like a good father, and he's patient, and it's like he knows how long the process is going to take, and he knows what we're capable of. Like we're responsible for what we know, and he's like teaching us along the way, but he's like patient. I always think of it as like a dad, like a really good dad teaching his kid how to ride her bike, he's teaching me how to ride my bike, and it's like when I fall off, it's like, okay, get back on, let's go, and it's like, and then he'll give you like writing tips or whatever, but it's like the only way you could really fail with God is by like just laying on the ground and like not getting back on the bike, and so I just think it's really cool that God is patient, like, because he sees our heart, and he sees like that we're trying to get it, but we're like in the learning process, and it's like, but God loves us even with the learning. Like, I feel like he likes to watch us, like we're his kids, he likes to watch us learn and like be with us through that process, like. And sometimes it does seem like trial and error, like, okay, that doesn't work, I'm not doing it that way again, and so, and then the other part about Joshua that I like is like how God like gives the blueprints for each day, for each battle, for each. It's like if we seek him with every detail of our life, like he meets us there. Like, I actually like to go shopping with God, which is like ridiculous. Like, I even do grocery shopping, I do clothes shopping. Like, I won't buy anything unless God's like, yeah, get that, And so, so I have fun with that. I even get dressed with the Lord. Like, what are we gonna wear today, God? Like, and that's just, I mean, I think it sounds completely ridiculous, honestly, as I'm saying out loud. But I like to do life with God, and so I like that. I like God to be involved in every detail of my life. I like to go to the kitchen and be like, hey, God, let's make something fun and creative. Like, let's make a meal together, And I like that because to me it's fun, and I end up like doing or making or going somewhere like way out of the box. Like, okay, Lord, we're just driving this way. We're just going here today. Like, I don't know why we're going here today, but I'll stay here till you tell me to go. And it's just really exciting. And so I try not to sign up, like put things on my schedule unless I know that's from the Lord. Like, okay, I don't want to go. I don't want to do anything unless it's from you. Because I feel like my time on earth is like precious, and honestly, I'm motivated. I was like, you know what? I want to establish God's kingdom here. I want to be used with maximum impact, to destroy hell and to establish God's kingdom on earth, and save as many souls from the depths of hell as possible. And so that's kind of like my motivation. Like, I want to leave like a maximum impact each day, each minute of my life. And so I'm like, all right, Lord, how can we do maximum impact today? And so that's why I kind of like show up places or do whatever, say whatever, make what an hour-long video reading the book of Joshua, part of the book of Joshua. I don't know why we do what we do, but but I love it. And so the verse of the day, let's see. The verse of the day on the Bible app or whatever is, be strong and let your heart take courage, all who hope in the Lord. So that's Psalms 31:24. Hold on, I like the other version. I read it, so that was the World Messianic Bible. This one is from the Passion Translation, which I highly recommend. It says, so cheer up, take courage, all who love him. Wait for him to break through for you, all who trust in him. And that's perfect because this is the last day of the Jewish year. And so tomorrow's a new year. And so it's perfect to think about breakthrough. So I'm super excited about new wine, new wineskin, new assignments, like fresh vision for the new year. Just like a freshness. And one thing I was thinking about today is like, don't look back. Don't look back. Because like, as we step into the new season, it's like, you don't want to like look back with like fondness. Like, oh, I missed the old season. Like, no, don't look back, because the best is yet to come, because we go from glory to glory to glory. So each season just keeps getting better, like more and more victories. And so I want to look forward. And it's like, we have a review mirror, but if you stare at the review mirror, you're going to crash your car. You're going to crash your bike, right? And so it's really important to look ahead, way ahead, to see what's coming ahead, not to, if look in the rearview mirror. And so, so yeah, the best is yet to come. So I'm super excited.